Welcome back to Yang Daily. I'll be your host, Alex Cheney, bringing you all the Yang news you need to live your life right. Ton of stuff to go over today. Buckle up, because here we go. Income Movement is continuing to lead the charge on recurring cash payments with a new letter to Congress arguing that one check is not enough. Please take 1 minute to follow the link below and send the template letter, or if you have time, personalize it. Yesterday, they also started the trend hashtag one check is not enough. So please feel free to slap that on your social media posts. Yang is joining in the phone banking for Marilyn Strickland this Saturday, July 25th at 10 a.m. Pacific. Help out a fantastic humanity forward candidate and ardent UBI supporter while rubbing elbows with your favorite politician by following the link below to sign up now. The only valid excuse is if you'll be busy marching on your representative's house at the time. The United Nations Development Program has issued a letter to all nations urging them to adopt a temporary UBI. The UNDP conducted a survey of 60 countries and determined that the vast majority of people cannot weather the pandemic without income assistance. This makes it not only a humanitarian issue, not only an economic issue, but also a public health issue. The three are all tied together right now. A flaw in any of them will spell disaster. As targeted programs always miss people, universal is the only way to reach everyone in need and avert that disaster. When everyone from the UN to the WHO to the World Bank to CEOs to civil rights activists to humanitarian charities to presidential candidates to 88% of the population are all calling for UBI, Congress needs to get it done right freaking now. Spread this letter far and wide, send it to your representatives, send it to Trump. Enough is enough. CNN had an interview with retired Lieutenant General Honoré regarding the use of federal law enforcement in Portland, and the general was quite frank about his opinion. He said that the officers are acting like a mob, that law enforcement's job is to apprehend, not punish or assault, that there is no excuse for beating nonviolent protesters, shooting them, or spraying them in the face with pepper spray, and that their behavior is shameful and he hopes to see Wolf relieved of command. The general was particularly upset that many of the officers are wearing military garb as they commit these atrocities. He said that the uniform is supposed to stand for, quote, protecting people's rights, not suppressing people's rights, end quote. That they are disgracing the uniform and said, quote, get the hell out of our uniforms, end quote. Brian Williams also pointed out that the acting Homeland Security Director Chad Wolf, who is leading these operations, has zero experience in law enforcement or the military and used to be a lobbyist. Excellent. Entirely consistent with the rest of Trump's appointments. The mayor of Portland joined the protesters to get a first-person perspective on what happens every night. It was fairly rowdy, with protesters starting fires around the federal courthouse, where the DHS forces reside, as the continued occupation and actions of the paramilitary forces amplify public outrage. But the federal police were markedly more measured than their usual response, only sallying forth to put out the fires before retreating back into the building. Nevertheless, the mayor did get hit with some indirect tear gas, and he wasn't very happy about it. District Judge Alvin Hellerstein ruled yesterday that the recent arrest of Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, by the Trump administration's Department of Justice was illegitimate and an attempt to prevent Cohen from writing his book, which will include scathing observations of racist remarks by Trump about Obama and other black leaders, who he allegedly considers illegitimate due to their race. Cohen was serving time for tax evasion and admitting to breaking campaign finance law to arrange hush money for two women Trump was allegedly having affairs with, and lying to Congress about a Trump real estate project in Moscow, also during the 2016 primary. Cohen was released under house arrest due to the COVID outbreak spreading through prisons and was arrested again after refusing to sign a gag order for his continued release, which he and his lawyer argue had provisions which violated his constitutional right to free speech by barring him from writing his book or even discussing it. The judge said, quote, I make the finding that the purpose of transferring Mr. Cohen from furlough and home confinement to jail is retaliatory, and it's retaliatory because of his desire to exercise his First Amendment rights to publish a book and to discuss anything about the book or anything else he wants on social media and with others. In 21 years of being a judge and sentencing people and looking at the terms and conditions of supervised release, I have never seen such a clause, end quote. Dictator red flag of the day, abusing the law to silence your enemies. In a surprisingly positive turn of events, Trump announced he is canceling his campaign rally in Florida due to concerns over the safety of the event during the pandemic. Now, it may be that Trump has had an epiphany that the pandemic is something important and worth caring about, and that he shouldn't hold extremely dangerous packed indoor rallies of the sort that he's already done in multiple states where the virus is running wild. It could also be that his new campaign manager is directing him to be more responsible about the pandemic because it's killing his poll numbers. Or it could be because the last rally had a disappointing turnout, the Florida turnout is likely to be even worse, and the local sheriff told him that there's a lack of plans, funding, and officers to manage security for the event. Possibly the city doesn't want to get stiffed, as Trump is well known for not paying his debts to cities that host his events, or to anyone else for that matter. Still, let's hope this becomes a trend for everyone's sake. This week's unemployment numbers came in at 1.4 million, which marks the first time since the unemployment numbers started trending downward that they have gone back up. As we talked about, they've been leveling off for some time, so this may just be a continuation of that, or this may indicate that they are going to again begin rising, likely due to some states reversing their lockdown positions due to rising caseloads. The People's Policy Project released a study on how judicial appointments are selected. Generally, the Senate of the state where the judge will be working makes a recommendation to the president, who then usually nominates that judge to be approved by the Senate. The project studied 45 Democratic recommendations, 37 formed committees to help them, 18 of the committees operate in secrecy, the other 19 had public information on their operation, and the project found, unsurprisingly, that they are disproportionately composed of corporate lawyers and prosecutors who have coincidentally donated large sums to the senator in question, to the exclusion of lawyers who represent workers, consumers, criminal defendants, and other underdog groups. This is corporate lobbyists in the legislative branch extending corporations' stranglehold on government into the judicial to produce results like what we talked about the other day, with companies accidentally killing dozens of people only to get a slap on the wrist fine of a fraction of a percent of their annual income. The percentages vary widely, however, with Vermont's Patrick Leahy and Bernie Sanders only having 22% of their committee composed of corporate lawyers and prosecutors, versus Colorado's Michael Bennet having 73%. For reference, corporate lawyers make up around 14% of law graduates, but an average of 35% of these committees. The project recommends that the committee system be disbanded and that the next president do as Jimmy Carter did, pass an executive order to create a federal judicial commission composed of 13 panels, one for each of the circuit courts. These panels were composed of presidential appointees with stipulations requiring gender and racial diversity, as well as a balanced membership between lawyers and non-lawyers. Upon notification, they were required to send 5 names to the president for vacancies after a period of 60 days. The project further recommends that presidents commit to only appointing lawyers to the commission who have spent the vast majority of their career advocating for underdog groups in society. That would include public defenders, union-side labor lawyers, civil rights lawyers, immigration lawyers, environmental lawyers, and other public interest legal professions. Incidentally, the senators who refused to disclose information on their selection process included names such as Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer, and Oregon's Jeff Merkley. Lacey DeLane has started a petition for holding a special election for Lewis's seat in Congress. If you believe that the people should decide who represents them, rather than 13 committee members, follow the link below and add your name. If you've been jonesing for more pictures of Andrew Yang as a young stud muffin, you're in luck. Yang tweeted 2 high school photos a friend sent to him, and he looks super chill and pretty damn hot, to be honest. I say forget the tie, bring chill Yang back for the next debate. You'll understand when you check out the pictures below. Finally, Heidi of Vets for Yang has announced that she will be hosting regular fireside chats of Andrew soon, with more details to follow. If you're unfamiliar, FDR had regular informal addresses to the nation in front of a fireplace on national TV during his presidency. They were widely popular. Personally, I'm pretty excited about this. Can't wait to hear more. And that'll do it for today's Yang Daily. Send your letter to Congress, join Yang for phone banking, Bookmark and spread the UN's UBI letter, share the judge study, sign the special election petition, check out Chill Andrew, help recruit other organizations to the cause and get everyone to sign the UBI petitions, flood Congress and Trump with calls, tweets, and letters using the ResistBot or Income Movement easy contacts below. If you need financial help, consult Humanity Forward, the Income Movement Aid Database, United Way, or the H3 podcast thread. And don't forget to Yang Daily.